What's up YouTube? That I show you guys this beautiful plant here. Check how cool this plant is. How beautiful that is. You know, these things kinda look like seeds. Kinda look like seeds in some sense, you know, but if it was seeds we would have a ton of plant growing around the perimeter already, and doesn't really send off plant that way, and you know, new shoots. So our new suckling, new baby. I don't see any, so I don't think these are seeds that it sends off, but how beautiful, how cool this plant is. Section there can almost look like a pine cone. You know, this green top. Don't mind my hand been in dirt. It's kinda looking a bit bad from winter, but we've been in dirt doing some yard work from evening, so this plant is really cool. It's kinda getting big for this space. I remember, you know, between 6-7 years ago I planted. It was a tiny thing in the midst of all this growth here, and you know, at one point it looked small, now it all grown in and look super big. You know, unfortunate that it's in the position where it's in, as I know it's not reaching its potential of growth because it's starting to grow into these other trees behind it. You know, and as you see, it don't have a ton of space, and you know, I made room for it years ago, and it was small back then. Now it's all grown in. This tree is called a magnolia tree. There's different species of magnolias appear to be. This one kinda look Jane. You know, it looks similar to one that they call a Jane magnolia. I have all different. So you see how this kinda look like a pine cone thing. Oh yeah, it's not reaching its best potential because it's been hindered from growing as much as in the front section here opposed to the back. You know, it's a beautiful plant whatsoever though, but what's cool about this plant, it start to bloom before it grow leaves. You know, before all leaves green, it start to bloom. You know, so the first thing you see was bloom. So last week you see it was all just bloom. You did see more of the light pink in it. Now it's kind of different, but very cool plant. It does lose the bloom pretty early, pretty quick. You know, especially in the early spring if we get lot of rain, as you know. April shower bring Mayflowers. All these things just dissipate and blown off, and you know, get ripped off in just days. Like you see the beauty of it, and then it's all gone. So it's definitely a short-lived bloom, as you see all that already falling off underneath the caterpillar, and this is just few days into blooming. So it's a good thing that I catch it this time around. I feel like I have thought of it before, make a short video, but before I know it, spring come and it's just a lot of rain and the wind, and then there's nothing. Go to work, come back, it's all gone. You know, yesterday it was even more full. Imagine 2 days ago. You know, so it's either way, it's a beautiful plant, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. Many of you may have a magnolia tree in your yard, or seen them in the parks or different area. You know, it's a beautiful plant. See them on television, the internet, wherever. You get to see one on the Adman Garden on Arts TV. You know, such a beautiful plant. Coolest thing about this plant, years ago, I planted here just from a tiny sprout. You know, I was able, you know, I thought I was actually gonna propagate one from this mother plant. It is right around here if I can center underneath this canopy. So it was years ago I went to this yard, you know, and I was doing some yard work, and there's a big magnolia tree in the yard. And same thing, was smaller though, tiny piece, maybe more like this. Was hanging off just the same here. And I was able to come in and you know, kind of prise it off the body of the tree, along with also getting some root. I have a feeling that this does have some root, because you see it's almost disconnect from the body of here. So if I could get it, you know, maybe get something sharp to slice it along off the body of the tree root here, then what I pull up from the ground may come up with some root, you know what I mean, which is what how I started this years ago. Literally a tiny piece like here that was more deep down into the soil of the plant, you know, so I was able to get it off easily. You know what I mean? This, I feel like, you know, I look at it last year, it was small, and now it's a bit bigger. You know, but I'm feeling that I could definitely come and turn this into a new plant. You know, overall, I do no doubt that I could also propagate it from just cuttings. You know, seeing all this, like, you know, you see plant like this, it's almost like each one of these white spot here can, you know, eventually bring root. You know, these nodes and plants, eventually you get a cutting, you usually can get it to germinate root for you. Oh yeah, it's really a dense undercarriage. But yeah, I can imagine, you know, if you see this 7 years ago, 7 years ago when I planted, literally a tiny piece. You know, I started in a pot and then I transplanted it into the ground, and now it's a big magnolia plant. Almost coming to the sense of where you know, it's getting close to the road almost, in a sense. You know, not quite yet, you know, but still you can already see the road. You know, let's take a look back. So it's a beautiful, you know, mix within all the green. I feel like a lot of these plants was misplaced when they were put into the ground, you know. And it's the same thing. The person that put them might say, you know, years ago they were small, so they look like they make sense in the surrounding, kind of make a little private for the front yard. But that's with plant. They grow in and then they just ruin the whole landscape and what you thought in mind. So when you're putting plants together, it's also good to consider, you know, the growth and the changes of it, because, you know, this is two plants right here and they basically in each other. And I've seen other plants that was here prior that growing into each other, and eventually some die off, you know. That's just with plant. But spring, it's getting green. These are evergreen though, so these kind of does stay most green for the year, you know. Same thing with these, eh? But still need some spring cleaning. Still need to get going in the garden. You know what I mean? But just wanted to show you this beautiful plant here and the love of all this beauty that surrounds us, you know. And this plant is real cool, you know what I mean? Like, I think I'm literally gonna take the image of one of these and paint it, you know, make like a whole Imagine this being like, not say collage, but a whole repeat on a surface, on a canvas or whatever. Print, whatever. Painting. Or, abstract, but imagine all this just and repeat on a canvas, on a surface, wall, anything, but it's really cool. You know what I mean? Appreciation for love, for beautiful plant and for life. That's what it's all about. It's always what Yardman Garden and Art CV inspire about, nature. And the whole thought of, planting these years ago, and it was basically a cutting, and this is what it is right now. Its own plant. Beautiful plant. And then in the next week it's not gonna have no bloom. And I feel like it's just almost safe to say once a year, early spring it blooms. Maybe at the end of summer you will see some stuff on it a little bit, but not much. So it's one of them beauty that's short lived. Magnolia plant. Magnolia tree, magnolia flowers. See them a lot in park. And, I see them a lot in like expensive neighborhood. One of them type of ornamental plant type of thing. Real cool, right? Imagine seeing this a week ago and all flower no leaf. Real cool. Anyway, I'm gonna cut this here. I just wanted to show you guys the beauty of this plant and share her with you before all that beauty go away. It's Nick from Yardman Garden and Art TV. Look at my body next to the plant here. So it's actually a big plant. Getting wide. It's a beautiful evening. Hear all the birds in the background. You can hear the blue jay. People on motorcycle. Spring, summer, it's always come to life. People are out more. I mean, animals, the birds, everybody is out more. But anyway, I'm gonna cut this one. Make Yardman Garden and Arts TV. Like, subscribe. Follow my channel. Beautiful content. Beautiful plant. For anybody that never seen this plant before, beautiful magnolia.